Okay, so now we're up to number 4. We're trying to convert 22.4 liters to milliliters. So let's start out with our equivalent statement. How many milliliters are in a liter? Let's see if it kept my color. Whoops. Hold on, I got to click on this. Oh, yes, it's in my color. Okay, so there are 1,000 milliliters in a liter. Does everybody agree? Yes. Milli is 1/1000th, so it takes 1,000 of those tiny little milliliters to fill up a liter. That's my equivalent statement. And then, you guys, my equivalent statement is put into the form of a fraction. Why did I choose to put 1,000 milliliters on top and 1 liter on the bottom? It's all about getting the units to cancel out. So now my liter cancels out. I'm left with milliliters. So then what would I be typing into my calculator since I've got 22.4 and 1,000 both on the numerator?
22.4 times 1,000.
So I would be doing 22.4 times 1,000. And technically it's also divided by 1, but we know that doesn't change the answer, right? Yes. Okay, so if I take 22.4 and multiply by 1,000,
22,400.
you got it. I move my decimal 3 places to the right, so that gives me 22,400, okay? And my unit is going to be milliliters, no naked numbers. So 22,400 milliliters. All right? So do you guys see how on that particular problem, I didn't set it up quite as far as I had the previous problems? So I still gave you the conversion factor, but I didn't tell you what kinds of mathematical operations that you needed to be doing. You had to figure that out on your own. Okay? Let's go down to the next one. All right? I take away another piece. Do you guys see that? So in number 5, I've given you even less information. So for number 5, you guys have to know how many centimeters are in a meter. In other words, what is the numerical equivalent between meters and centimeters? So what is that value? How many centimeters are in a meter stick?
100.
There are 100 centimeters in a meter. Okay? Now, what I did show you in this problem was which unit needed to go on top and which unit needed to go on the bottom. Okay? I need the meters to go on the bottom. Okay, so my 1 meter goes on the bottom. And what's going to go on the top, you guys? The 100 centimeters goes on top. So now what happens to the unit of meters? It cancels out. So the unit of meters cancels out. What am I going to type into my calculator if I use a calculator? 5 times 100. And you could divide by 1 if you want to do that, but not necessarily. Okay, not necessary, I should say. So what is 5 times 100? 500, and then my units are? CM. No naked numbers. 500 centimeters. Okay? All right, next one. I pull away another step. I'm just pulling away a little bit at a time. Okay, we need the relationship between grams and centigrams. What is the numerical equivalent between grams and centigrams? So it is 100 centigrams equals a gram. So notice that that prefix centi means the same thing regardless of which unit it's with. Okay? So how am I going to set this one up? Do I want my 100 centigrams to go on the top or the bottom? The top. So I want my 100 centigrams to go on the top. 1 gram goes on the bottom. So what happens to that gram? What happens to the gram? It cancels out. You got it. So what is 17 times 100? 1,700 or 1,700. And centigrams, no naked numbers. Okay? You guys, the next one, I'm pulling away even more. I've tried to show you that in this problem, it's a 2-step problem. Okay? We're going from one prefix to another prefix. So if I go from one prefix to another prefix, what do I need to convert through? The base unit. So I need the relationship here between millimeters and meters. So what is that relationship? 1,000 So there's 1,000 tiny little millimeters, I should say, in what? 1 meter. And what's the relationship between meters and centimeters?
There's 100 centimeters.
100 centimeters in a meter. There you go. Okay? So there's my two equivalent statements. Now, which one am I going to use first? The millimeter or the centimeter conversion? Millimeter is what I'm going to use first. How am I going to arrange it? Am I going to put my 1 meter on the top or the bottom? I'm going to put 1 meter on the bottom. Ah, my 1 meter needs to go on the top. Very good. So what's going to go on the bottom? 1,000 millimeters goes on the bottom so that my millimeters cancels out. Now I need to convert meters to centimeters. So how am I going to set up that next conversion factor?
100 centimeters on the bottom right.
100 centimeters on the bottom right?
Or no. On the top.
On the top, exactly. I want to have 100 centimeters on top and 1 meter on the bottom to get the meter to cancel out. Does that make sense? Okay. So this time, what would I be typing into my calculator? 1.3 times 100, and then what? Divided by 1,000. Okay? You can cancel zeros. So if you cancel out 2 zeros on the top and 2 zeros on the bottom, it's the same thing as taking 1.3 and dividing by 10. You got it. Okay? So what's my answer going to be? 0.13 what? Centimeters. There we go. That's our final answer.